Hey everyone, it's Sam. Heading for an update for April now. Almost May already. I actually did not even realize April was almost over, but I guess time flies when you're having fun, or so they say. I finished my internal medicine rotation. Sorry, I can't talk today. I finished my internal medicine rotation. I took that test this past Monday. I passed, just barely, but I passed, so that's what matters. C's, as long as they're 75 and above, get degrees here. So I am in family medicine. I started on Tuesday, and it's going well so far. I mean, it's only a couple days in. We also did hot and cold load training at the airfields. That was pretty fun. And that was just part of IPAP. One of the other students that is in my class, he coordinated the training, so that was pretty fun. That wasn't part of the family medicine rotation or anything. We do academics each week. I think I've said this before, but we do academics each week, and a lot of it we try to come up with ourselves to make it more involved and learn what we want to learn and that sort of thing. So it's really fun. I definitely will say internal medicine, the rotation itself was extremely beneficial. Seeing so many things and talking through so many interesting patients and interesting medical conditions and comorbidities, and it was truly beneficial. And I enjoyed my time overall. I've heard not great things about it, but I enjoyed it. Some of it was long, but now that I am in my third trimester, my last week of inpatient internal medicine, I didn't have to work that weekend because I'm supposed to only work 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, according to my profile for third trimester. I will say that you have to be your own advocate if you get to this position. And sometimes I'm not great at advocating for myself because I just want to do well by the preceptor, learn all that I can myself while I'm still in training, and then do well by patients as well. So although I know the patients would be treated amazing even without me, because all of the doctors and residents and PAs, NPs, everybody I've worked with has been super knowledgeable, and for the most part, the patient comes first. I will say sometimes you'll have something you might disagree with or feel like they're not putting the patient first, but just, I would say, learn what kind of provider you want to be, because obviously you can talk through things with them, like why did you do it this way or why didn't you do it this way. With any of the preceptors, I would encourage you to try to respectfully ask, because there's probably a reason that they did it a certain way. You may find some that get burnt out and they're just going through the motions, and sometimes that's okay. Sometimes it's people, right? As long as standard of care is upheld, then I would say just try to not add to the burnout. So don't have a whole lot. So family medicine will be my last rotation that I test on before I have baby. I'm due in June. I do have a week of leave coming up in 2 weeks to go to my brother's master's graduation, and then I'll come back, finish my family medicine rotation, test on it, and currently I have 2 weeks of planned electives. I believe it's infectious disease and pain management. So, and that will take me up to 39 weeks. So, 2 of my 3 babies have come early. 1 came on delivery date. So I don't think that I'll be carrying past 39 weeks, but the phase 2 policy is I can start taking personal leave at 38 weeks. So I'll probably just take leave that last week if I'm still pregnant at that point. you cannot start a new rotation that's longer than a week once you hit, I believe it's 37 or 38 weeks. So even if I was to try to like continue taking like maybe a week of derm or something like that, then it's not going to benefit me, because then I'll just have to retake the week whenever I come back, because if you don't finish a rotation, you have to restart it. So I'll have, after I finish family medicine, that will be 8 of my 11 exams for phase 2, and then I will have left to take surgery, dermatology, and pediatrics after I come back from leave. I'm cutting my leave just a little bit short. I'm taking about 14 to 15 weeks of leave planned right now, and that's so rather than 18. For anybody that's not tracking, females do that. The birthing parent, I should say, does get 6 weeks of convalescent leave following birth, and then either parent will get the 12 weeks parental leave. So I'm taking about 14 or 15 of those weeks, and then I will come back, and I'm coming back a few weeks early so I can graduate with the class behind me. So I'll only recycle 1 semester rather than 2. I think that's best for me, and I can always use that leave at another time. I just don't want to continue to be a student for an additional 4 to 5 months. So, and the time isn't yours if you recycle. You will still be in clinic, in some clinics somewhere, seeing patients and doing all the things. So I'm not ready, but I'm ready to, like, after graduation, to spread my wings without, and start getting that confidence that I need, because that's definitely where I seem to lack. At times I'll second guess myself, even though I'm on the right path. And it goes for practicing, seeing patients, and it also goes for testing. Often second guess myself. But I will say the instructors are super responsive. If I often am just like, what was I thinking? Or why is my answer wrong? Why is this answer right? And there is a brief explanation on the test, but sometimes I reach out to the instructors to go over the questions I missed so I can understand, like, for future reference. I don't want to treat a patient incorrectly or not uphold the standard of care. So in the future, I want to know, why would I not do this? Or why would I want to do this? So I encourage you, if you're going through phase 1, phase 2, just communicate with your instructors so that you can have a better idea of all of it. I got 2 people emailed me since my last video. I actually forgot about it because it was like the day of my last video or the day after, and then like a week after that, and I feel like it's been like 2 months since I put out a video, but it's only been a month, so about 4 weeks. So one individual asked me, sorry, I'm looking at my phone, so it might feel kind of rude, I'm sorry. But one individual asked me, they said, where do you recommend someone starts? I have no medical background, but am extremely interested. I have some college, but I'm going to start taking the required courses. Thank you for watching my videos and asking questions, because somewhere somebody doesn't know that this is a question they want to ask, or they're just like me and, oh, I'll email later and then forget. I had no medical background as well. I know I've said that a number of times, but if anybody hasn't heard that, because I know sometimes you skip through certain videos and stuff. I actually got like an Associate of Arts degree back in 2016 before I joined the Army. And then when I got on active duty, and I think I started right before COVID started. Yeah, I started taking classes again before COVID. And then it just helped when COVID started, because I was taking online classes. And I got a degree through Liberty University in Virginia. So I encourage anybody to look at them as well. They have many, many, many online degrees. And then I used TA for most of my classes, but I did cap out and I wanted to finish the degree I was working on and some of the classes. So I did end up paying out of pocket for, I think, like 2 classes. And I got a degree in healthcare informatics. So with my previous degree, I also had classes in between for like 2 semesters at Appalachian State University in Boone, North Carolina. I was going in person there. I was driving an hour every day, so back and forth. So between all of those classes and starting at Liberty University, and of course you have to do a minimum amount of their degree, like, through them. So between my major courses I needed for healthcare informatics, as well as some electives, and I added on a class or 2. I basically I finished all of my requirements for the program, and I did redo some of the ones that were too old. And then that was the first year I applied into IPAP, and I didn't get in. So the next year when I applied, I needed 2 more courses. I think it was like the year you needed biochem, and then one of my chemistries that year became too old. So I then signed up through AMU to take just those 2 classes before the second year I applied. So that was sorry. Excuse me. I am so rude today. This baby's taking it out of me. So I used my degree with Liberty University, and then I took 2 classes at AMU. I would say both of those are very popular among military individuals trying to go to IPAP. I would also say that there's a few others, and if you go on the IPAP Facebook page, you can definitely see people that have asked the same or a similar question, or just what college do you recommend, what degree do you recommend, etc. So I do have people that I'm in IPAP with that never had a degree, so it's not required, but I did kind of 2 birds, 1 stone, because to advance in the military, they are pushing to where you need a degree, or you should have a degree once you hit a certain rank, whether enlisted or if you want to be an officer one day, to be an officer. So I was like, all right, well, I can always fall back and have a degree. Doesn't hurt anything. So, and then I would say to definitely make sure you get with a military PA and understand their job, and that you are actually interested in doing that job. Whether you're reserve or guard or active duty, your unit should have a PA, or your PCM might be a PA and can guide you to a certain point, or have people that they know on base or what have you. But I would definitely say to start with looking at degree plans that kind of are something you think you could be interested in, even if you don't make it to IPAP, because you always have to have a backup. I would say IPAP plan A, if that's what your plan A is, and I would say have a B and at least a C, if not also a D. So it's pretty hard to put all your eggs in one basket. Let's see. The next question this person asked was, do I recommend getting the SAT or PA-CAT after taking the classes required? I would say the only reason that I would recommend you should wait is if you're uncertain about some of the subjects, and you think that taking some of those turn my phone down. Taking some of those classes will help prepare you for the PA-CAT or SAT. If you're rusty on algebra and you're signed up for college algebra as a prerequisite, then yeah, let's wait until you take that first. But I would say if you are soon after high school, or you've done some of the study like Khan Academy or something like that to prepare for SAT, I'd say you're fine going ahead. Or if you aren't certain about biology on the PACAT, just wait till you take your biology course. Or if you're not, if you are not like, oh, I'm worried about that, then you can also just study the question banks and stuff on the PACAT Exam Master. All those questions you'll see on the test as well. So I remember I only had like 2 hours to study for the PACAT because I was planning my wedding and I was pregnant. I'm always pregnant, evidently, when big tests are coming. And then I remembered I just went through like as many questions as I could like withhold in my head, and through that like hour or two preparing to go, and I some of those exact questions I saw on the PACAT. So take advantage of that, those question banks that they're giving you to prepare, because if I would have known, I would have made time somewhere, somehow, some way. Probably had my priorities a little messed up, but regardless, let me move on to the other person that emailed me some questions. Okay, this person emailed me before and asked some questions about like exams and stuff, but this time they asked me questions about PCSing. So they are, I think they're guard or reserve. They basically never PCS, and they're wondering the process. So they're guard. So, unfamiliar PCSing. They'll be moving. They're already into IPAP, so they're already planning on moving. I think they're going to be in this August class. Congrats, like, by the way, if you watched this one. And they're looking to do a PPM or DIDI, since they're not bringing along a whole lot. I would always recommend a PPM or DIDI if you want to make sure your stuff doesn't get broken or lost or never delivered, or delivered 6 months from after the time you get there. I've just heard so many horror stories. I've only used the Army to move me, kind of twice. So when I got to AIT and my kids came out, all my stuff was moved from my home of record by the Army. And then whenever I moved from Texas to North Carolina, after AIT and deployment, I had the Army move me then too. But I was moving from an Air Force base, so I don't know if it helped that the contractors were probably used to moving Air Force people more. I'm not sure. But, and then I got here to Fort Bragg in 2019, and I think I waited like a month, or maybe a little bit less, on my stuff. But I filled up my SUV I had at the time full of everything it would hold, and me and my kids survived until we had our stuff delivered. It might not even been a month, it might have been a couple weeks, but I saw that if you're not in any PCS groups on Facebook, I recommend joining one. There's a lot of PPM, PCS, DIDI, whatever groups on Facebook. So you can definitely find one and ask all the questions, because there's all sorts of branches in those. I've seen Navy people ask questions. I've seen all sorts of people. I think there's some reserve or guard in there too that might be able to help. Or there's just like the subject matter experts, and like that's their passion, which I applaud them for. Yeah, so you can use the military's contracted movers. You don't have to. I had like one of my kids' beds. They had beds that had like drawers underneath. And during my move from Texas to Fort Bragg, they one of the drawers basically they completely broke it. It would not go back together. And I claimed it and they gave me like, it was like $50 or something. The whole bed was like 150 or 200, so like it wasn't, and the bed was still able to be used, so it wasn't like the worst thing. But I haven't had a horrible experience, but I've heard of so many horrible experiences. But that's your personal call if you can move. We didn't use that at the time, but now that I'm married with an amazing man, this time he will probably be moving all of our stuff every time we move from now on. But PCSing is nerve-wracking, especially PCSing and preparing for PA school. But basically you can't PCS or start your process until you get your orders. And then once you get your orders, you'll go on the move.mil site and you'll like basically sign up to move. Even if you're moving just your stuff, or if you're doing a contractor, you can choose the option when you're creating your move. And then you pick the day and everything, and you have to upload a copy of your orders to be able to continue the process of them processing your move. So that's why you have to wait on your orders, and you can't start it until you get those orders. They usually give you an estimate of how much like they'll pay you if you're trying to do a PPM or Diddy, or they'll give you a contact. I mean, I don't think right when you do it, but I think at some point you're given the contact information for a contractor if you choose to have a contractor move you. And then you'd weigh your belongings before and after. What I typically do is, like when I was moving from San Antonio here, I was only bringing back what could fit in my car because most of my stuff's already here with my family. And I went and weighed my car empty, and then I filled it up with all the stuff I'm going to bring, and I weighed it full. So that, you definitely need 2 weight tickets, empty and full, because they're going to be paying you for the cost of moving that number of pounds. You also get like, I would save like pretty much any receipts, like the supplies that you bought. If you did a U-Haul, you also need like the contract. If you drive a car, you also need the registration. And then if it's like not yours, like we have a little Ford Focus is what I took to Texas and back, and I had to have my husband sign a paper saying that I could drive it because it's in his name. So it's kind of whatever. And then gas receipts, supply receipts, save all that if you can. Which you don't get reimbursed for them, but you don't get taxed for stuff like that. So I mean, it helps a little, especially if you're taxing. It's just you can also stay at a hotel when you get there. If you're doing Oconus to Conus, I think it's 7 days, or 10 days. And Conus to Conus is 14 days. So, you can stay at a hotel at the beginning or the end of your move. I believe you can also split it. So if you decided to stay, I'm going to stay when I get to San Antonio and then I'll figure out somewhere to live, you can use all 14 days there. Or if you're like, oh, I need to clean my house and stuff, let me use 5 days here and 9 days there. I think you can do that, but I would call the Fort Sam transportation office and verify, or you can find it online in the travel information, like joint travel regulation and stuff. So that, I think it was 5 and 7 days or something, and it went up to 10 and 14 days. You get more time though, Conus to Conus, which is kind of weird to me. When you arrive at Fort Sam, you want to go to the transportation office and submit your travel documents and all your receipts, and they'll just tell you if you're missing anything so you can have time to re-engage anybody you might need to re-engage, or get receipts or white tickets. I'll also say save your receipts for your hotels. I think I saved them for my taxes or something, though. Did you get... No. I saved them for both. So my aunt does my taxes, so she takes care of anything regarding that. But when you submit your meals and lodging, which is a separate voucher than like the cost of moving your like the actual travel with car or U-Haul or whatever, the meals and lodging, they're gonna give you the amount that you pay for lodging, as long as it's within your allowance. So there are ways to go online and see how much your allowance is for moving and stuff, for lodging. And the meals part, that's just a set amount. So whether you get a really nice meal or you go through a drive-through, whatever, it's still the same. Yeah, so you definitely need your lodging receipts though, so I would make sure you have that either in an email or paper copy when you're leaving any of the hotels that you stay at along the way, or whether it's the hotel you stay at in San Antonio if you choose to stay in a hotel for that like 10 to 14 days or what have you. But also, let me just say, double check all of this information with the Joint Travel Regulation and the travel office or transportation office. But those are just filed separately. The meals and lodging and stuff, and then the like U-Haul or car or mileage. Those are two separate filings, and the Fort Sam Houston Transportation Office can help you figure out what is what and tell you what you're missing. And then those also come as two separate deposits. I think my one with like my meals and lodging and stuff came pretty quick. I think a couple weeks. But the other one came like 4 months later, like the actual moving, at least when I PCS'd to Fort Bragg from Fort Sam. Might be super confusing, but I would just say look at the Fort Sam Transportation Office. They're on like Google Maps, and they're also on, I think they have like a Facebook or something. But they're located on Jessup Road in San Antonio. So if you need to look them up on Google and then find out more, to call them or what have you, or see their hours. And then you also get dislocation allowance, which is there's like a stipend for you and there's with or without dependents, and then there's a stipend for each of your dependents. So obviously I've only moved myself, so I only got for myself. But then it's actually quite a bit of money. I think I got like just myself, it was like $2 or $3 grand or something. So make sure you file for your dislocation allowance, or DLA as they call it. So the PCS process can be super confusing. I say to call the transportation office with any and all questions, but try to know what you're going to ask. Maybe write it down so you don't forget, like, oh, I forgot to ask this. But also, if you forget to ask something or you think about something later, call them back. I mean, that's what they're there for, so I encourage you. There's also on the IPAP Facebook group, there's also a ton of like reserve and guard soldiers that ask questions, and they're like, hey, can someone in guard help me understand, because it is a different process sometimes. And typically I'll see one of my classmates or one of the other people that went through IPAP in a class before or after us, and they'll be like, oh, message me, I can help you, or like, what information do you need? So everybody on there is really supportive and really out to help people. So obviously if we're trying to be healthcare professionals, we want to help people. So there's that. Sorry, I'm like out of breath because also very pregnant. So, I think that's all I really had. My May update will probably be my last update until I head back. I may update in June, but I doubt it because I think I'm going to have them like the first week of June. So, that's it for May. I hope you guys have a great summer. If I don't, I'll do another video May, so I won't wish you guys, well, I'll go ahead and wish all of you luck that are still waiting on board results, but then I'll wish luck again next month. And then if you have questions, email me. Even if I'm not posting videos, please email me. And then if I get like really good questions, I'll probably make time to post a video to answer those questions. I just won't really have any updates on my side for, like, oh, I took an exam, or, oh, this went through these clinical rotations, or anything like that. So, but feel free to comment or email or whatever you might need to do or want to do, or if you're just like getting to phase 1 and you're just like, I don't know what I am doing here. I was there. So even if you need to vent and just be like somebody that understands what I'm going through, I will understand. So I hope you guys have a good rest of your summer. Those that just started phase 1, I hope you have a blast. And I guess that's it. Until next time. Bye.